If you've been on any social media platform lately, then you're probably aware of what's been going on in the ocean, an ocean filled with plastic. Plastic has been destroying our environment, and it all started when we were first introduced to its cheap and durable nature. It can take up to 1,000 years for some plastics to degrade. And once they do, they often break down into particles smaller than a sesame seed called microplastics, which are practically impossible to clean up. The United Nations Environment Program estimates that every year we dump 8 million metric tons of plastic into the ocean, which is equivalent to nearly 500 aircraft carriers. And by 2040, there will be more plastic than fish in the ocean. As the ocean is the Earth's largest ecosystem, this poses a huge threat to marine life. In fact, over 1 million sea creatures die each year from getting tangled in plastic waste or eating plastic bags and other debris that have been mistaken for food. We know that reducing our consumption and recycling more would help decrease the amount of plastic waste, but that's not enough. We also need to clean up the mess that we've already made. So today we'll be looking at the effects of plastic waste on 4 types of wildlife and what we can do about it. Our first creature is a reptile that needs no introduction. Sea turtles are some of the most iconic animals in our oceans and arguably the most affected by human activities. They've been around since the dinosaurs and haven't changed much since. Well, except for their eating habits. Most sea turtle species mostly eat jellyfish and other soft-bodied invertebrates. And thanks to their specialized gut, they're able to digest these creatures while leaving the plastic mostly intact. But that doesn't mean that plastic doesn't affect them. In fact, many sea turtles mistake plastic bags for their favorite food, which are often free-floating in the water column. Jellyfish often get entangled in plastic waste and then eaten by turtles. So they end up ingesting some plastic along with their meal. When ingested, plastic waste can perforate their gut and cause infections, ulcers, starvation, and death. Just one piece of plastic the size of a coin can be lethal if swallowed by a hatchling. These aren't the only ways that turtles are affected by plastic pollution either. Plastic waste accumulates in large patches on the ocean surface and washes up on beaches worldwide. This waste can smother turtle nests and stop females from laying their eggs. If the eggs are somehow able to hatch, the baby turtles will be greeted by a beach covered in plastic, which makes it hard for them to reach the ocean. To make matters even worse, turtles that ingest plastic can pass the debris onto other animals in the ecosystem, meaning that the plastic is constantly being cycled back into their system. Luckily, there are many organizations out there that are doing great work cleaning up plastic from the ocean and beaches. One of the best known is Ocean Conservancy, which organizes international beach and river cleanups and lobbies for legislation that reduces plastic pollution. But you don't have to wait until an organization comes to your city. You can start cleaning your local beach today to help protect sea turtles and other animals. Whales are another marine animal greatly affected by plastic pollution. Whales can get entangled in discarded fishing nets and ropes, which can cause cuts, abrasions, and broken skin. This leaves them vulnerable to deadly bacterial infections. Nets can also restrict blood flow and cause swelling, especially if they rub against the whale's sensitive undersides. Sometimes the nets can get wrapped around a whale's mouth, making it hard for them to eat. Whales can also mistake plastic bags for jellyfish, which they like to feed on. A plastic bag can get stuck in their throat or cause blockages in their digestive system. Whales that eat plastic also risk perforating their gut. The inside of plastic is often coated with chemicals such as polyvinyl chloride, or PVC, which is toxic to whales and other marine mammals. Whales can also accumulate plastics in their stomachs without eating them intentionally. This happens when they surface to breathe and plastic waste in the water gets sucked up into their blowholes. Whales can also eat plastic that's been mixed in with their food during processing. This is a problem mainly for baleen whales, which are the ones that sieve krill and other small fish for food. There are two main ways that you can help whales avoid plastic pollution. Firstly, don't use single-use plastics like straws and bags. Not only do these end up in landfills, incinerators, or the ocean, but their production uses fossil fuels, which are the main driver of climate change, something that's already affecting whales and other marine animals. Secondly, you can support organizations that are protecting whales from plastic pollution, such as Whale and Dolphin Conservation, which works to remove ghost nets from the ocean and provides guidance on how to report and respond to entangled whales. Now let's look at plastic pollution's impact on one of the ocean's most abundant animals, seabirds. Every year, 1 million seabirds die after mistaking plastic waste for food. Many seabirds eat plastic, but different species do so in different ways. Surface-feeding seabirds, such as petrels, are most likely to eat plastic that's floating on the ocean surface, whereas diving seabirds like penguins and puffins are more likely to consume plastic that has been washed up on shore. Plastic waste can kill seabirds in several ways. If the plastic waste isn't degraded, it can obstruct their digestive system and cause starvation. Plastics can also cause internal ulcers, ruptures, and infections. And as mentioned before, the inside of plastic is often coated with toxic chemicals that can be harmful or fatal to birds. Just like sea turtles, seabirds can pass plastic onto other animals in the ecosystem. After seabirds eat plastic, it can be regurgitated as pellets, which are then eaten by other seabirds or fish. Sometimes the plastic waste that kills seabirds isn't the plastic that's been dropped by humans. In fact, seabirds can be killed by plastic that's been leached from paints, cosmetics, detergents, and other personal care products that have been washed down drains and into the ocean. But luckily, there are many things that you can do to prevent seabirds from dying from plastic waste. Apart from reducing your own plastic consumption, you can support organizations that are cleaning up the ocean. But you should also contact your local council and ask them to improve waste collection in your area and invest in plastic-eating bacteria. These bacteria break down plastic polymers in both aquatic and terrestrial environments. They've been found in places like the Ganges River Delta and have been used to clean up oil spills. For our final example, we won't be looking at a particular species, but rather the plastic waste that accumulates in the cells and tissues of marine organisms. This debris is called bioaccumulated plastic, and it affects animals in different ways depending on where they are in the food chain. Bioaccumulated plastic is especially problematic for top predators, such as killer whales and sharks, because they tend to eat lots of prey. This means that they are more likely to ingest plastic and pass it on to other animals that eat them. Plastic accumulation has been detected in over 600 species of fish, including the bluefin tuna, which is a common sushi ingredient. Fish often mistake microplastics for plankton, which they usually make up a significant portion of their diet. Plankton, on the other hand, often eat the microplastics that have accumulated in the water column and become part of the fish diet. Plastics have also been found in deep sea fish, despite them living thousands of meters below the surface. This suggests that plastic particles can travel extremely far and penetrate even the deepest parts of the ocean. Of course, fish aren't the only animals that eat microplastics. In fact, studies have found plastics in over 90% of bottled sea salt samples. Salt is made by filtering out seawater, which can contain high levels of microplastics. And since we use salt in almost everything we cook, this means that we're also consuming microplastics. Luckily, there is one thing you can do to help reduce the amount of plastic in your body, and that is to drink less bottled water. Most of us are led to believe that bottled water is healthier than tap water, but studies have shown that tap water is generally safer than bottled water. Bottled water can leach chemicals such as bisphenol A or BPA into the liquid. BPA is an industrial chemical that is used to make certain plastics and resins, but can harm the brain, behavior, and prostate gland of fetuses, infants, and young children. Tap water is regulated more heavily than bottled water. Countries like France and Belgium have banned BPA in baby bottles and sippy cups, but it's still used in the manufacture of most plastic bottles. Also, although plastic water bottles are technically recyclable, most of them end up in landfills or incinerated. Manufacturing new bottles from recycled plastic requires more energy than the process itself. Instead of buying plastic water bottles, you can buy a reusable bottle made from stainless steel or glass. If you want to learn more about the effects of plastic pollution, I've linked some resources in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you learned something new. If you liked this video, please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. But as always, it's been me, and you've been watching this channel. See you next time.